Hi everyone, welcome to your Pilates Slide class. We're going to incorporate a light set of hand weights into today's workout. If you don't have light hand weights, you could use household objects instead. Soup cans, water bottles, or even lacrosse balls. You could hold those for a little extra weight, so you can get creative. For sliders, if you're on hardwood floor, you can use dish towels. You're going to need a set because at the end we'll have 1 foot on each. So you can use dish towels on hardwood floor. If you're on carpet, you can use paper plates. If you're using paper plates or those plastic disc gliders, I still want you to have a dish towel on hand because we're going to be in tabletop. We're actually going to wrap a weight in a towel at one point and put it behind our leg like this for a little bit of hamstring activation. Now, just a note about this, if this is causing your knee to come into too much flexion, because it is a relatively small object, you could opt to either not put anything behind your knee, or you could use a larger Pilates ball, and that will just make the bend a little less drastic, but you'll still have something there to squeeze into. So up to you, just wanted to make a note of that. Now, if you're new to Pilates Slide classes, these classes mix more traditional Pilates mat sequences with sliding sequences that are inspired by my years teaching on the megaformer. Class is pretty much a continuous flow. However, you'll notice different sections where we sort of focus on one muscle group and then we move on to the next. So this is an endurance challenge. There isn't really rest built in. That being said, when you finish a section, say you finish the core section or you finish the standing leg section, feel free to pause the video and take breaks as needed. For Patreon members, I do have a Pilates Slide 101 class that sort of slows it down and goes over lots of options for modifying. So that is a great place to start with these classes. Okay, with all that said, let's get into our warm-up. We're not going to use our dish towels right away, our sliders, so you can kind of have them off to the side, but we will start with our weights. And let's come to a comfortable cross-legged position. We're going to have the weights just kind of in front of us like this, palms facing towards each other. We're sitting up tall, so make sure you're neutral through the spine, open through the chest. And on an inhale, I want you to reach that right arm up overhead. Now we're going to side bend. First reach up, and then I want you to side bend over to the left. We're going to bring it back upright, and then we're just going to switch which hand is up, which arm is down. When you side bend, think of growing tall and then rounding over something. Bring it upright and scissor switch. Just keep moving slowly like this. I'm getting over a cold, so apologies if I sound a little nasally through this class. Let's go one more to each side. Switch, little side bend. Switch, little side bend, and then from here I want you to sit upright and I want you to bring both arms to chest height, palms still facing in towards each other, and we're just going to twist side to side. Let's start by twisting open to the left as that left arm reaches back, Bring it back through center. And then your right arm reaches back as you twist open to the right. Keep moving like that. Now when you twist, there's some natural compression to the spine, but we don't want to exaggerate it. So let's still think of sitting up nice and tall. Also building a little heat in the arms here. If it's too much to have the weights in your warm-up, feel free to do this first part body weight. One more time each side. When you're back through center, I want you to pause. We're going to add in some forward flexion. So I want you to inhale to prepare. As you exhale, I want you to nod the chin. Start to press the weights forward. Keep your arms parallel to the floor. Flex forward through that mid-spine. And then I want you to lower the weights down to the floor. Now as you exhale, connect to your abdominal wall, still in this rounded position. Lift those arms back up parallel with the floor. And as you inhale, you're going to stack the spine back up tall. Again, we nod the chin, roll forward through the mid-spine. Inhale, lower the arms. Exhale, lift. Inhale, stack the spine back up tall. One more time. Stack it up tall. Good. Now from here, and if your ankles are crossed, I want you to separate them just a little bit so that you have 1 foot in front of the other. We're going to shift our focus into our hips. Now I want you to start to hinge forward. It's not a round forward. Stay lifted through the chest. Hinge forward through the hips, reach those weights forward, and we're going to come to a kneeling position, firing through the glutes. Our hips are in this open position. Don't worry if you're not coming up all the way. I don't want you to arch into your lower back. Just a little squeeze through the glutes, come up as high as you can, and then send those hips back and lower it down. Let's do twice more with this cross. Last time. And now I just want you to switch which foot is in front. So bring the other one in closer to you, opposite one in front, 3 times this side. Start to hinge forward, reach those weights forward, come up onto your knees, squeezing through the glutes. Don't worry if you don't come up all the way. There might still be a hinge to the hips. Twice more. Last time, then we're going into core work. And I want you to sit it down. Now from here, I want you to plant your feet on the floor in front of you. We're gonna come into a half roll back. I want your legs together, and I don't want your feet in too close to your bum. Send them out so there's not a 90-degree bend to the knees by any means. We're sitting upright to start. Arms reach forward. You still have those weights. If they get to be too much at any point though, you put them down. You just do this body weight, okay? On an exhale, you're going to scoop through the lower spine, rolling your hip bones away from your thighs, coming back behind the sitting bones, and then inhale, stack it back up tall. So this movement right here is such a good one to do if you tend to hyperextend into your lower back, or you have an excessive arch to your lower back and you feel back pain. It counters that movement. So we're finding that lumbar flexion, engage the abdominal walls. We roll back and up. So coming up, we're just going to combo at the bottom. We're going to pause. You're going to do a reverse fly. So let's add that in. So you exhale, scoop, roll it back, staying back. I want you to open the arms only as wide as you can without flaring open through the rib cage. Bring them back in front of you, and then we stack up. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Roll it up. Keep going. We're going to hold at the bottom up next. We're going to keep the fly going, but we will alternate it with an overhead raise. Last time like this. And next time you roll back, we're going to hold back behind those sitting bones. So now it's one fly. And then I want you to lift those arms up only as high as you can go without flaring open through the ribs, and down. So we want to maintain the shape of our spine as the arms move. So it might not be a very large arm movement, and that is fine. Now we're going to switch the focus from the arms moving into the legs moving up next. Give me one more in this combo. Arms open and close. They lift. Stop with them parallel to the floor. Now from here, on an exhale, you're going to lift your feet up off the mat into a boat pose or a V-sit position. So on an exhale, connect to the abdominals. We lift the feet up. As you inhale, you tap the heels down. Exhale, connect to the abdominal wall before you start lifting. The hip flexors are absolutely working here, but if we don't make sure we have that bracing sensation through the abdominal wall, then it's just going to be hip flexors. And I want to make sure that the hip flexors are working together with our abdominals. We're going to add on to this. Next time you lift up, balancing behind the sitting bones, I want you to pause. Now, can you straighten the legs? And as you do, can you reach the arms up parallel to your legs? Bend the knees and lower. Inhale, tap the feet back down. Exhale, lift to a hover. Inhale, elongate. Exhale, return bent. Inhale, tap the floor. Keep going like that. Slowly through this, moving with your breath. Now we have a hold coming up. Your choice. Advanced, legs can be straight. Little easier, knees can be bent. Last time here. And I want you to pause. Now we're going to go back to that arm combo, fly overhead raise. Either keep the shins parallel to the floor or straighten those legs for more of a challenge. Arms open and close. Woo! They lift up and down. You got it. We're going to bend the knees up next. And both weights are going to come into your right hand. We're going to do a little combo. We're going to roll into a side plank position and then back into our V-sit. One more time with the arm combo. You got it. Arms open. Woo! And close. They lift, lower, and pause. Bend the knees if they're not already. Bring both weights into your right hand. Take your left fingertips, tent them to the floor to the left. Now we're going to start to roll onto our left hip. As we do, you're going to straighten the legs. You're going to come to your forearm. We're rolling into this side plank alignment, feet stacked, hips down. On an exhale, we're going to lift our hips up into our side plank. We're going to lower the hips down to the mat. Keeping the fingertips down but lifting the elbow, we're going to start to roll behind the sitting bones back to that starting position. Keep going like that. We roll to our side. Exhale to lift. Hips are stacked, one on top of the other when they lift in that side plank. Lower them down. Roll back to start. If having both weights is too much, you can always drop down to one, or you can do this body weight. We're going to finish in that side plank hold up next. Two more like this. We'll hold the second one. All right, we roll to our side. We exhale, lift the hips into our side plank. Hold here, top arm is going to move. I want you to pull that right elbow down to your side. Press the weights up. Now I want you to lower that right arm parallel to the floor in front of you. Lift it up. Pull it in. Press it up. Lower and lift. If you need to modify, I want you to take your bottom left knee down to the ground like this. Otherwise, your feet are stacked. One more time in the arm combo, and then we just hold to finish. Lower, lift, and hold. You're here for 10 seconds. Reach those hips up. Stay strong through your bottom shoulder. We're going to lower our hips down and come onto our back in 3. In 2, with control, lower your hips down. Come to your back, grabbing one weight in each hand. And I want you to roll all the way down. Arms are reaching up overhead. We're going to come into rollovers before we repeat that whole thing, taking it to the other side. So as you inhale, arms are going to start to come overhead. As you exhale, nod the chin, reach the weights forward, parallel to your thighs, round up and over those thighs. Inhale, reverse it, rolling back down. Exhale, arms overhead. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, nod the chin, vertebrae by vertebrae, articulate the spine up and over. So in this version, with the weights in our hands, the weights are actually helping us roll up because we have the weight over here. So they're helping us get up smoothly. Last time, and then we're going to start that from the top. Exhale, roll up and over those thighs. And then this time, I just want you to stack the spine up tall. You're going to bend those knees, legs together, feet on the floor. We're going to start with those half rollbacks. I'm just going to face the other direction so that when we get to the side plank stuff, I'm facing you. Palms are going to face in towards each other, arms parallel with the floor. Make sure your heels aren't in too close to your butt. So I want them kind of far out, legs together. Start by sitting upright so you're on your sitting bones, okay? Neutral through the spine. And then on an exhale, we roll to the back of the sitting bones, or the pelvis, and up. So think about what is happening here. It's your pelvis, your hip bones, rolling away from your thigh bones. Call it pelvic femoral rhythm in Pilates. We're going to add on that kind of reverse fly at the bottom of each one. So next time you exhale and roll to the back of your sitting bones, we pause. You're open through the chest. You open the arms. You close them back in front of you. And we stack the spine up tall. So we are challenging our abdominals to maintain the shape of the spine as we shift where the weight is distributed by moving the arms. Next time we roll back, we're gonna hold back, reverse fly, overhead raise. Let's do it. So the arms fly out and in. Now we lift them up only as high as you can go, maintaining the integrity of the spine. So if you're tight to the shoulders, you may not lift your arms up very high at all. I know I do not get mine all the way, biceps in line with the ears. It's something we can be working towards, but it does not matter if we're not there. It doesn't matter if we never get there. So we will shift the focus away from the arms moving into the legs lifting and lowering. Excuse me. Again, like I said, this is my first class since having a cold, so you're gonna get some nasally sounds. All right, I want you to pause with the arms reaching forward. Now on an exhale, connect to your core, start to get lighter through the feet. Can you lift the knees up so the shins are now parallel to the floor? We're in this kind of boat pose or V-sit position. As you inhale, you lower the feet back down. We lift and lower. Now I want you to try to keep your torso in the same position in space. So it's just the legs lifting up and lowering without rocking and forward and up or back and up like this with the torso. Again, if weights are too much, if those arms are starting to burn a little too much, then I want you to put them down. Just do body weight for me. All right, let's turn this into the combo with the straightening of the legs and the lifting of the arms. So we exhale, we lift. Inhale, elongate, arms reach up, legs straighten. Bend and lower the arms. Tap those feet back down to the mat, slowly with your breath. You're open through the chest. So while yes, we are rounded through the lower spine or scooped through the lower spine, you're not rounded like this through the chest and pulling your shoulders forward. We're going to go back to that arm combo, fly, overhead raise. We will do it in the V-sit position. Your choice, you can do knees bent or you can do legs straight. If the balance is too much, do it with your feet on the mat. All right, I want you to pause in your balance position. Just the arms open and close, lift and lower. If you're up for the challenge, the legs are straight as you do it. Just 2 more times with the arm combo, and then knees are going to bend if they're not already, and we're going to bring both weights into our left hand. I want you to pause with the arms parallel to the floor, bend those knees. Shift both weights into your left hand, tent the right fingertips to the right. Now we're going to start to roll onto our right hip as we lower onto our forearm and straighten out the legs. Now heels, hips, elbow all in one line. Exhale, lift those hips straight up. You're in a side plank. We lower them back down to the mat, and then we start to roll behind the sitting bones, lifting that elbow, bending the knees, back to our starting position. Keep going like that. So we are almost done with this core section. You know what's left, just this, that side plank hold with a little bit of arm movement. And then we are going to shift the focus into lower body. We will do a mat section in tabletop, and then we will finally come into some sliding work. Second to last rep here. The next time we roll into that side plank, you are going to hold. If 2 weights is too much, just do 1 or do body weight. Exhale, lift those hips up, hold. Now we have a little bend and stretch to that top elbow. Pull the elbow into your hip, press it up. Now the straight arm lowers, parallel to the floor. Woo! Lift it up. Pull. Press. If you need to modify, that bottom knee is down, but the hips stay lifted, okay? If you need more stability, you can stagger your feet instead of having them stacked one on top of the other. 2 more times in the arm combo, and then we finish with our hold. You're almost there, you're almost there. Stay with me. Keep pushing those hips up. Lower, lift it up, hold. Make sure the top left hip is stacked directly over the right, so I need to pull it forward a smidge. You're here for 4, for 3, 2, I want you to lower the hips down, bend the knees. Let's take a quick counter stretch. Right arm can sweep up and over. Left arm can sweep up and over. And now we're going to come into our tabletop work. So the setup for this one is we're going to take one of our weights and we're going to roll it in the dish towel to make sort of a weighted pad here that we can squeeze behind the crease of our knee. So I'm just going to roll it into a little hot dog here, or burrito, I guess would be the better visual. Now I want my other weight to be within reach, easy to grab, but we're not going to use it at first. So we're going to take our little weighted sushi roll. Let's see how many foods I can compare this to by the time the workout's over. And we're going to squeeze it in the crease of our right knee. And we're going to spread out through the hands, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We're going to start with a donkey kick. So I want you flex through the ankle. Give that little sushi roll a good squeeze. On an exhale, you're going to drive the knee up and lower it down. Up and down. Now when that knee lifts up to about hip height, we are not arching into our lower back, so we're maintaining abdominal engagement here as we go. Now you want to try to hold that bundle behind your knee the whole time. So we're going to have to stay really active through our hamstrings here, not just the glutes. Coming up, we're going to hold that knee lifted. We're going to do a little pulse combo. You're going to pulse up, and you're just going to give that towel a little squeeze. So next time that knee drives up, I want you to hold it lifted. All right, little pulse combo. It's up an inch and then squeeze in an inch. Up, squeeze the weight. Up, squeeze. Now as you do this, I want you to make sure that you are not leaning over to the left. Left hip is staying pretty much right over that left knee. So you might need to put a little extra weight into your right hand if you're noticing that you're starting to lean. Hips are square to the floor. So we're not rolling open through this right hip. Now, we're going to hold, but you're going to take out the pulses, and we're going to windshield wiper our foot side to side, finding internal and external rotation. So you're going to pause here. Keep the knee lifted, reach long through the femur so we're fired through the glutes. And now I just want you to windshield wiper the heel over to the left and over to the right. So the thigh bone is rotating within the hip joint, but we're not actually moving the hips. So keep those hips square, both pointing to the floor, and you're just swinging side to side. It might be a very small movement. That is okay. It's only as big as you can rotate without rocking the pelvis. Now get ready to hold internal rotation. So that would mean that the right heel would be out towards the right. So next time you internally rotate, hold. Now I want you to lower the shape down so the knee is kind of coming to the back of your left calf. Lift it back up. We maintain the internal rotation. We just lower and lift. Keep squeezing that weight gently. Don't let it slip. If it does slip though, no big deal. You can place it back where it should be, or you could opt to do the rest of it just body weight only. Next time you lift up, I want you to hold. Now we're going to find external rotation, so that right foot kind of windshield wipers over to the left. And we're going to lower and lift. So now it's sort of ankle crossing that left calf. Lift it up. Lower and lift. We lower and lift within that external rotation. Really think about how you're lifting the leg. You're lifting the leg by contracting the right side glutes. We're going to hold at the top. We're going to maintain this external rotation as we swing the right knee up and forward to the right, as if we were kind of going to tap our right elbow, and then back. So next time up, I want you to hold. Now you're going to swing that knee forward, almost like you're coming into a fire hydrant, and then just swing it back. Swing it forward and back. We're almost through the series. Now to finish, you have an option. If you are looking for a challenge, we're going to do a fire hydrant. You could just do the leg, or if you want, that opposite left hand is going to grab the weight, and that opposite arm is going to move into opposition. Next time you swing that right knee forward and out to the right, pause. Option to grab your weight, left elbow is bent. Lower the knee down. As you hydrant the knee up, can you do a bent fly on that left arm? Everything lowers down. Exhale. Right leg and left elbow lift. Lower. So big core stability challenge here. Almost there. Now we're going to come to standing up next. We're going to continue our work on this right leg. It'll be standing sliding work. Give me 2 more. Last time, hold at the top. Squeeze into the glutes, squeeze the weight a little tighter behind your calf. You're here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower everything down. All right, so we're going to use both weights. They're optional, but we're going to grab one in each hand, and we're going to need one glider for sliding. Let's come to stand. All right, one weight in each hand, but they are optional. At any point, if the added arm work gets to be too much, you can ditch them. We're going to be doing lunge work, but we're going to add in a challenge for our triceps as well, okay? Your left foot is going to be on the glider. Your right foot is going to be planted on the mat or just on the floor. You want space for sliding that back left leg. So we're going to start with a sliding back lunge. Palms are going to face in towards you. As we lower down, we're going to lift the straight arms up, okay? So it's going to be a straight arm tricep lift. So back left heel lifted up, square off through the hips, open through the chest. This is important. As we add in the arms, we don't want to roll forward. So sliding back lunge, as those hips slide back, we lift those arms up. It might not feel like you're lifting them up very high at all, and that is fine. And you press that right foot into the ground as you come up to the top. So notice I'm leaning forward, so my shoulders are staying stacked over that front right knee. My back left leg is staying long, heel lifted, so that I have the weight in this front target leg, this right leg. Now notice, as your arms lift up, are you rolling your shoulders forward? I do not want that. So you need to think broadness across your collarbones, open through the chest, but without flaring open through your rib cage. So from the top of your head to this back left heel is one long diagonal line. Shoulders over that front right knee. Slide back, hips slide back. Torso hinges forward, arms lift. So we have our variations coming up. We'll hold at the bottom. First, we'll pulse through the legs, and then we will bend, stretch through the arms, staying low in our lunge. Now you have options, so you can always do this body weight without the weights if the arms are getting to be too much, or you can just hold the weights at heart center and take out that tricep lift instead, okay? So that'll give a little extra weight to the legs without adding more work for the arms. So next time down, we are going to hold. Reach those arms long and up. Make sure your hips are square, so you might need to shift your right hip back, left hip forward a little bit. And now let's pulse through the legs. Up an inch and down an inch. When you pulse up, think of stamping the right foot down into the floor. Notice, are your arms starting to drop down? Try to keep them lifted. We're going to hold still through the legs. We're going to bend, stretch through the elbows in 4, 3, 2, final pulse, and then hold low through those legs. All right, hold low in your lunge. Now it's a bend, stretch through the arms. Bend at the elbows, press those arms straight. We have a balance coming up, okay? So we'll hold the arms still. We'll start to shift forward. Maybe this back left leg comes up, so we're kind of in a single leg deadlift position. 4, 3, bend, stretch for 2. Last time, hold those arms straight. Now I want you to start to shift your weight forward, but don't lock out through the standing right leg. Maybe you lift your back left leg up. So we're in this balanced position. Open through the chest. Hips square to the floor. If it's too much, just put your back foot on the ground like a kickstand. On my count, that back foot's going to land on your glider. We start from the top in 3, 2, 1. Back foot lands on the glider. Press up to the top. Okay. Sliding back lunge. Hips go back. Straight arm tricep lift. And to the top. There are no add-ons, okay? So we're just going to do that same exact series a second time through. And then you are done with this leg. We'll come back to the mat. We'll do that tabletop work starting on the left leg. Are you open through the chest? But staying connected to the front of your rib cage. Because if we open up through the rib cage, we tend to arch into our lower back and tilt the pelvis. So it sets off a chain reaction, bringing us out of neutral alignment. We have our hold at the bottom, coming up shortly. You know the drill. Man, first workout back post head cold, and I am struggling. Next time down, we're going to hold. Hips are square, arms long and lifted, pulse through the legs. Up an inch, down an inch. If it's too much holding your arms lifted, just bring them in front of your chest for now, okay? And then we'll extend them back for the bend stretch. We'll hold the legs still. We'll bend stretch through the arms in 4, 3, 2, final pulse. Hold in your low lunge. Hips are square. Bend, stretch those arms. Bend, stretch. Woo, bend, stretch. Reach them back. Bend, stretch. We have one final balance, okay? We'll shift our weight forward. Arms stay back in this sort of airplane position in 4, 3, hold them straight in 2, 1, hold those arms back. Shift your weight forward into this right foot. Don't walk out through the right knee. Maybe your left leg comes up. Lift the arms 1 inch higher, squeeze them into midline. Hang on to it. Give me 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh man, stand up. All right, let's go down to the mat. We start our work on the left side. So we're gonna make that little burrito or that little sushi roll, put one weight in the dish towel, and then just roll it into this little cylinder. And now we'll put it behind the crease of our left knee. If you're going to grab that weight at the ending of this one, just have it close to your hands on the mat nearby. We won't use it to start. Spread out through those hands, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Flex through that left ankle. We're gonna start with our donkey kick. As you exhale, you're gonna drive the heel up towards the ceiling and lower. Now throughout all of this, we don't want that towel to slip out from behind our knee. So we are squeezing gently into it, activating the hamstrings. As you lift the leg, you're thinking of contracting the glutes, the hamstrings kind of maintaining that isometric hold throughout this, constantly squeezing the weight. So think hamstrings working largely isometrically, glutes working as the primary mover. As the knee lifts, you don't change the shape of your spine. So we lift by firing through the glutes, not arching into our lower back like this. Let's check in on our weight distribution. So we're not leaning over into that supporting right side. We're staying centered. We're gonna hold up next and do that little pulse combo. So next time the knee lifts up to hip height, hold. Little pulse combo up and then squeeze in on the weight. Up, squeeze the weight behind your knee. So you probably won't even be able to see that squeeze in. It's so small. Little squeeze, pulse up, squeeze in, pulse up. Now just to check that weight distribution, do a little test for me. See if you can take your right hand away without your body changing position. If you can't, it means you have too much weight in it, okay? We got to center off. We're going to explore rotation up next. We will keep the hip bones level just as they are. We will windshield wiper that foot, rotating the femur bone within the hip joint. All right, pause the pulsing. Keep that gentle squeeze on the weight though, and then we rotate. Whoo! So as you rotate to the side, don't let that weight slip out. So we got to keep squeezing in. Hamstrings are working hard here. Now I know it's like the last thing you're thinking of, but notice where your gaze is. If you're looking at your knees, your head is hanging too heavy and your neck is not in alignment. So I want you to think length through the back of the neck. Gaze should be down at that front edge of your mat. We'll hold internal rotation up next. So that will mean left foot is kind of up and out to the left slightly. So next time you internally rotate, pause on the internal rotation. Now we're going to lower the leg and lift, maintaining that internal rotation. So the knee is kind of coming down towards your right calf, and then we lift up. Woo, feeling a little shaky. Try to maintain that little internal rotation. Don't let the leg come totally parallel. I know it's tough. So you're kind of squeezing into your side butt, glute med, glute min here, to lift the leg back up. Contract through your glutes to lift. Now we're going to hold to the top, same thing, external rotation in 2. Final time, hold to the top. Now let's find external rotation. Hips are square, Foot kind of windshield wipers over to the right, and then you lower and lift. So as you lift, it's kind of ankle crossing calf and up. So it doesn't have to be a huge rotation because, again, I don't want you opening up through that left hip. Don't let it start to peel open. It's the leg rotated within the neutral hips. We have that kind of swinging motion coming up next. So we'll stay externally rotated. You're going to swing the left knee up and to the left and then back. In 3, 2, next time up, hold. All right, holding it lifted, you swing it up into the left, squeeze that weight, swing it back. Up to the left and back, keep it lifted. So you're gonna have the option to grab that weight in your opposite right hand up next and do that bent fly as the leg hydrants. It is optional, you can absolutely keep both hands on the ground. If you wanna grab it though, let's reach for it. Now you're going to swing that left knee forward. I want you to lower it down. Opposite right elbow is bent. Everything lifts out in opposition and lowers. Left knee lifts up and to the left. Right arm flies up and to the right. Neutral through the spine. Now check in on that supporting elbow. Unlock through it ever so slightly, just so that we don't hyperextend. Give me 3 more and then we hold at the top. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower, almost there. We'll come to standing up next. All right, next time you lift up, hold. Long through the spine. Here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower everything down. All right, take that weight out from your roll. We're going to need 1 slider. We're going to have the weights in our hands. We're going to come to standing. So we're just going to need 1 glider. Your right foot is going to be on it. Your left foot is going to be planted firmly on the floor. And we're going to have 1 weight in each hand for some added tricep work. You know the drill. Okay, so let's start. Square the hips, open through the chest, okay, but without flaring open through the rib cage, palms face in towards you. Now, as you start to hinge at the hips and slide those hips back, bending into your left knee, we're going to just lift those arms up behind our back. So it's like a straight arm tricep lift. And then we come back down, lowering those arms. Move, honey. So we lower. Little engagement through the backs of our arms. Press the left foot into the mat as you lift back up to the top. If the weights are too much, you can always just do this body weight. Or if you want to take out the arms and just focus on the legs, you could always just hold the weights at heart center as you slide down and up to you. So modify as needed. So I want you to picture from the top of your head to that back right heel, 1 long diagonal line. We're hinging forward, shoulders over that front knee throughout the range of motion. We have our first hold at the bottom coming up. We'll start with a pulse of the legs, then we'll move into arms. So next time down at the bottom, I want you to hold. Arms are long and lifted. Little pulse, up an inch and down. You're stamping your left foot into the floor, up and down. Now the backs of the arms are going to start to talk to you. Don't let them start to drop down, okay? They are lifted. Can you keep them in line with your torso or maybe even a smidge higher? We're going to take out the pulse. You're going to hold the legs still in your low lunge. We're going to bend, stretch through the arms in 3, 2. Last pulse of the legs. Hold low. Now bend, stretch through the arms. Bend, stretch. Make sure you're connected to your core. Now we're going to hold the arms still. We're going to start to hinge forward, shifting our weight into this front left leg. Maybe that right leg lifts off the ground into kind of a deadlift balance. In 3, 2, hold the arms straight. Now start to hinge forward. Don't straighten out through this left leg. Right leg maybe comes off the mat. We hold in this long airplane position. Hips are squared to the floor, so you might need to pull that right hip down a smidge. Here for 4, land back in your low lunge in 3, 2, 1. Back right toes land on your glider. Press yourself up to the top. Woo! All right, second round. As you lower into your lunge, we have that straight arm lift for the backs of the arms. Now, as you lift the arms, we're not rolling forward through the shoulder, okay? So you need to think broad across your collarbones, really open through the chest. It may not feel like you're lifting the arms very high at all, and that is okay. So we're just going to repeat what we did. We hold at the bottom, we pulse the legs, we bend, stretch the arms, we go into our balance hold. If the balance hold doesn't work for you, just hold low in your lunge. You can keep your right foot on the floor, okay? All right, next time down, we hold. Arms are long, palms face in. Pulse through the legs, up an inch, down an inch, up and down. Notice, are your arms wanting to drift out wide to the sides? I want you to squeeze them in, okay, towards midline. Pulse up an inch and down with the leg. Woo, hamstrings are talking to me, especially after that tabletop work. 3, 2, 1. Hold in your lowest lunge. Hips are square. Pull that right hip forward a little bit. Bend, stretch with the arms. Bend, stretch. Squeeze the weights. Bend at the elbows. Stretch them long, long, long. We have that balance hold coming up to finish. You got it. You're done with lower body work. We'll come to the mat to finish up class prone and plank work. 4, 3. Bend, stretch for 2. 1. Squeeze. Hold the arm straight. Now start to shift forward. Maybe that back right leg comes up to a hover. Squeeze the weight in towards midline. Can you lift the arms up 1 inch higher? Hold, you're here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, let's come down onto the mat to finish up class. This final push will be a little bit of sliding plank work and then some prone work. So notice my setup. I have the mat lengthwise like this so that I have room to slide over here. I'm going to have 1 foot on each glider. And then I have my weights over here. I'm going to grab them for the prone section, but we're not going to use them for the plank section. I just want them within easy reach, okay? So let's start in a forearm plank position. I know sliding plank work is really hard, so we're going to keep the sliding work quick bursts of it, okay? You can do it. 1 foot on either glider, forearms down in parallel, elbows under shoulders. You're going to press the mat away. Reach 1 leg long at a time. Start with the legs together. Now we're going to do a combo. We're going to slide the feet apart like a jack. You're going to bring the feet together. You're going to bend the knees in, rounding the spine up to the ceiling slightly, and then you're going to elongate them out, elongating through the spine as well. So they slide wide and in. They tuck in as you sort of crunch and round your spine up to the ceiling. Elongate, out, in and round. Now, if you need to modify, when you come in and round, drop your knees down for a second, okay? And then lift them as you slide out. So that just gives you a little tiny breather, makes the combo a little more manageable. Now you're going to give me 3 more, and then we're going to march up to a high plank and do the same thing on straight arms. 2 more. Last time. Send those legs out long, and then 1 at a time. I want you to march yourself up to a high plank position. Same thing, you're just going to give me 5 reps, okay? You can do it. Out, in. Now keep the spine neutral as you slide the knees in and out. 4 more. Out, in, into tabletop, out to plank. Final time. Meet me in your plank. And now with control, I want you to lower yourself all the way down to the mat in a prone position. Untuck your toes, press the tops of your feet down firmly into the floor. And then we're going to grab 1 weight in each hand. Weights are going to be down on the floor to start. And I want your nose lightly touching the mat to start. We want to make sure we're neutral through the pelvis, so I need you to brace through that abdominal wall so we don't hyperextend into the low back. Now, if this part is too much to do with weights in your hands, just do a body weight, okay? So we're going to alternate arms. I want you to keep your left arm down. We're going to start on the right. We're going to lift that right arm up to a hover. Keep your nose touching the floor, though. And now I want you to bend the elbow, pull that weight down. Extend the weight overhead, and then lower it to the floor and do the same thing over to the left. So left arm lifts to a hover. Pull it back. Send it long and lower. Length through the back of the neck here. So we're not lifting our nose, our upper body off of the floor, just the arms. But that does not mean we are inactive through that upper mid-back. So coming up next, we're just going to do both arms at the same time. Let's go. We're going to lift both weights to a small hover. Pull them down. So think goalpost arms, shoulder blades kind of slide down your spine. Reach them down or overhead and then lower. We're going to add another piece to this combo. When the elbows are back, we will come into a spinal extension. So next time you pull those arms back, I want you to pause. Now reaching long through the crown of your head, we're going to come up into an extension. The lift is coming from the mid-back and up. You're going to lower down. You're going to reach the arms overhead. You're going to lower them. We lift and pull. Extension. And down. Now we're going to make this a little smoother. As we pull, we're going to extend. As we lower the arms, we're going to reach forward, okay? So let's make it into one smooth movement. We come up into that extension, you pull the elbows back. You lower nose to floor, reach the weights out overhead. Extend. You're active through the legs, even though they're staying down on the floor. Push the tops of the feet into the mat. Next time you come up and row those elbows back, I want you to pause. Can you get a little higher? You're here for 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. I want you to lower down. Weights can go on the floor. Hands under shoulders. Press yourself up and back into a shell stretch, which is an active child's pose, just to get some flexion after that extension. Okay. Give me a little roll out of the shoulders. We're going to do that whole thing one more time, and then you are done with class, okay? So we'll start in a forearm plank position, make our way to high plank, finish in prone. We got this. Follow one foot on each glider. Forearms are going to come down parallel so that we're open through the chest and our shoulders are in a stable position. We're really going to push the floor away so we're not sinking down into them. Reach your legs long. 5 times through our combo. Let's go. Feet slide wide and in. As you bend the knees in, round the spine up to the ceiling like a curl. Extend long. That's 1. Out and in. Crunch. Send them long. Out. In. Twice more, then we march up to that high plank. Last time on forearms. Send those legs long. Now one at a time, I want you to march up to a high plank position. Press that mat away. 5 reps up here. Feet slide out and in. Spine stays neutral as the knees draw in and out. 4 more. Last bit of plank work. Final 2 reps. Out, narrow, bend, straighten. Last time, out, in. Pause in your plank position. With control, it's like a push-up, but you're going to lower yourself all the way to a prone position. Untuck the toes, press the tops of the feet down firmly into the floor. Those weights are overhead. We're going to start with our nose touching the floor, but length through the back of the neck. You need to brace through the abdominal wall so we are neutral through the pelvis. Legs can be together. They can be hips distance apart if that feels better on your low back. We're going to lift and pull, alternating arms. Let's start on the right. Right arm lifts, pull, reach it, and lower to the left. Lift to a hover, row it back, reach it overhead, lower. We'll do both arms together up next. Nose will still stay touching the floor at first, okay? Not worried about spinal extension. Last time on the left. And let's do both together. We lift the arms. Woo, that's hard. Row it back. Reach overhead and lower. Try to break it into 4 distinct parts, okay? Lift, pull, press it forward, lower it down. And you can pause when the weights are down for a second, okay? I don't care how many reps you get in. We'll make it smoother. It'll kind of just be a 2-part movement. We'll row, or no, wait. First we add on to this combo. It's going to be that extension, okay? Let's add it in. So we row the elbows back, pause. Now reach long through the crown of your head, lift up into that extension. Lower nose back down to the floor. Then reach the arms overhead, lower them down to the floor. You can pause for a second. Keep going like that at your own pace. Lift comes from your mid-spine. You're not dumping into the low spine. One more like this, then we make it smooth. It'll be a pull with an extend, a press with a lowering down. All right, let's do it. So we're going to reach long through the crown of our head. As we row the elbows back, we lift up into that extension. We lower the nose back down to the floor, arms reach forward. If it's too much, do it without the weights, okay? We're going to finish with a hold. Next time you row and lift, let's hold. We're retracting the shoulder blades in slightly. Now you can stay here, or if you'd like, you're going to reach your legs long and bring them to a hover as well. So you're in this shallow U shape. We hold for 4. You can get a little higher. You're done with class in 3, in 2, and 1. Lower down. Put the weights off to the side, hands under shoulders. Press back into your shell stretch, rounding the spine up to the ceiling. And then just melt into your child's pose. I'm going to bring you through a few quick stretches. Coming up to tabletop, we're going to thread the needle. Take your right arm, weave it under the left, bending your left elbow, cheek to the mat, and then walk your left arm forward. A few breaths here. Think of directing the inhale into your mid-back, that space between your shoulder blades and under your shoulder blades. Let's walk the left hand in, press up through tabletop, other side. Left weaves under right, and then walk your right arm forward. Walking that right hand back in, come through tabletop, tuck your toes under, hips up, down dog, pedal out the heels for me. And then settle into it, both heels towards the floor. Press your chest towards your thighs. When you're ready, I want you to walk your hands in towards your feet. We're going to come into a forward fold. Start by just nodding the head yes and no, releasing any tension through the neck. And then I want you to pick the forward fold position that works for you. Maybe it's ragdoll, opposite hand, opposite elbow. Maybe you want to increase the traction through that upper spine and you interlace the fingers at the base of your skull and let those elbows hang. Pick which one works best for your body. And let's stay here for a few breaths to finish up our class. Release your hands wherever you are. And then slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, we're going to roll it up to stand. On an inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, release. And that is your class. Awesome work today. If you enjoyed class, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post new workouts here every week. See you guys next time.